Hello and welcome back to RailRoads Online. So today we are here jumping in, gonna turn around and take a look at our money here. We did get up to $8,000, so delivered a couple more loads of the hoppers there, turned around and picked up 5 hoppers altogether now, so that load is paying $2,500. But with that comes the ability to turn around and buy a new locomotive, which is what we're going to do today, is buy our RailRoads first new locomotive. A lot of suggestions, a lot of good ones, a lot of options. At the end of the day, going to turn around and go with Mosca. It kind of matches with the Montezuma, so just going to turn around and go with that one for now, as we're keeping Montezuma. This one also runs on wood, should get a little more speed out of it, and that's kind of the hope there. And we're just gonna keep that straight, and then on this one we are gonna put our standard. And smokestack, I don't think we're going to do too much crazy here. Headlight, we're not going to do much with, and we are just going to order one of those. Number is right. Everything else, double check it and buy it. Now we just need to find it. There it is. Number 2, we'll turn around and take a look. Make sure we got what we got. Turn around and just be the big brother to our little Montezuma is the thinking, and honestly have not run a Mosca for a long time, so gonna turn around and give it a shot. Get that in there. Gonna turn around and take a little bit to warm this one up, so we'll get that warmed up and then we will head it out on the rails. Here we are, all warmed up. We did also turn around and pick up a caboose, so Mesa Plains Railroad Railway, and that is going to be for our tier 2 stack, so that's what we're going to run the number 2 for. Conveniently, all is working out. Alright, so let's jump in and see if this thing is ready to go, and hopefully we get a little bit more speed out of this one than we were the Montezuma. I suppose we actually probably have a lot of brakes on, and we might as well jump back. Already got those ones. Cool. Jump in here. Maybe we get ready to go sometime today, and it should let us roll back nice and easy. Did choose to go with a wood burning Loco just because we haven't got to coal yet. We will be soon, but the early railroad is just going to function all on wood. Little deeper whistle there than Montezuma, nothing super exciting. Definitely taking off faster. We do not need to go flying out of the station there. Alright, and then one other thing we will get a look at today and a test run on. Honestly, never been on it. In fact, yeah, no, that's not. I thought almost missed something there. This is going to be the first run out on the new extension here, or connection. It's not really an extension, but we did turn around and put this extension in for today's run to make things a little bit easier. And this should give us a chance in here to start actually opening it up Montezuma a little bit and seeing what we get out of it. At the same 20 miles an hour there, we might not actually go any faster in this one than we were. I'm sure it'll pull load faster, which is going to be the idea, I guess. Really, it's not about what it does empty. I mean, if our top speed is 20, cool, rock on, but if we can do it with the tier 2 stack loaded, and we're getting a little bit more out of it, so we'll see. I'm sure we'll hone it in get a little bit more. We definitely are getting a little bit more. So not a huge pickup, but it's really just about it being the bigger brother to Montezuma, looking decent for the early railroad. There, the whistle comes out pretty nice. Personally, I guess normally I would, all things nothing considered, I'd probably go with the Uinta, the small Uinta at this point. Just because the thing hauls a ton and you can pick it up at Tier 4. This one's going to haul quite a bit more than Montezuma, more than Montezuma. So it's like triple the tractive effort over Montezuma. So this one should handle our Tier 2 stack, which is going to be the idea there, a little better than Montezuma. Montezuma's getting it done, no doubt about it, but most of the time we are definitely not running at top speed. So the idea there is that we can get something a little more suited for running that kind of weight. And then throwing the caboose on the back just to turn around and make it a little easier to deal with the stack. Make sure it's all there all the time. Just for a visual cue, that's why I went with the nice bright red paint there. Alright, let's actually lay off of this, because what we're going to do up here is drop our caboose and see if we can gather this up decently. Brakes on Montezuma, really good. That's a positive. Or on Mosca, excuse me. Gonna do that a lot, being that they are M&M show. But Mosca has a little better brakes. That's one thing Montezuma does kind of lack, is great braking power. So as your weight gets up there, I think the most surprising thing is Montezuma actually does really well running 5 hopper cars on the flat. Pretty impressed with that, actually. Let's kick this one along. There is Montezuma. So we're going to look at the two of them together. Still on the hopper cars there, running all 5. Just fine and dandy, not running into any issues. We should probably actually stop by for water there. This one's definitely going to need a top off. We will run by this switch here. And we'll flip it back, slam on the brakes, do some crazy locomotive driving. Alright, settle down. And then we'll come back here. We want to grab that stack, not slam into the back of our hoppers. So we'll get that flipped. And then we're obviously just going to push back all the way to our caboose. Alright, let's ease out on the impact. There we go. Good click. Good connect. I bet we still have the brakes on. One drawback, everything else you can do now in there, you still can't go back and grab brakes on cars, which would kind of be a cool feature to see added, but then realistically, you know, that is what you'd have to do, is go back there and turn the brakes off. They're handbrakes, so can't complain about it either. Alright, we are going to ease up on this just because we do know, actually, you know what we're going to do? Turn around and see if we can beat the Loco back here and get the brake turned off. I don't reckon this one's going to run away too far. Yeah, it's not even going to move. Perfect. And then we might as well save the auto flip while we're at it. And then we'll go ahead and land so we can jump right in here and slam into the caboose at excessive speed. No. That's just one option. We're going to try not to exercise that option today, though. We do just want to pick that up and get underway and see how Montezuma is going to do with a load on. Alright, I think we have picked it up at this point. Alright, let's clear everything out of there. And then we are going to head out down the rails. Suppose we'll take a little peek ahead, make sure that we are going in the direction. We might as well go the shortest way possible. That should take care of that. Yeah, decent proper train there. Guess we didn't slow down and take too much of a look at Montezuma and Mosca next to each other, but you can get a look there just as we quickly go by. Mosca quite a bit bigger than Montezuma. Same kind of overall look, obviously different wheel arrangement. The consolidation is just going to get it done. 280 wheel arrangement. A lot of them in the game. I know at one point we had way too many of them in the game compared to everything else. Now we do have a lot of options, so you can thankfully run whatever you like, or run a great mixture of all of the above. Quite a few locomotives to choose from nowadays, really. I feel like back in the day we didn't really have that many options, but nowadays I do feel like there's a good assortment of locomotives in there. Everybody always wants more, though. Can you ever really have too many locomotives? That's the question. I don't think so. Moscow looking good, heading down the rail there, though. Good little closer look. Nice blue on that one. Yeah, it's definitely doing the deal. I mean, this one's hauling at 20 miles an hour, nice and steady. So, well, we didn't really get a big increase in speed per se, or at least top speed potential. We did turn around and I think pick up in a consistency speed for sure. I mean, Montezuma under load was not pulling at a steady 20-21 all the time. We were probably more looking at like 15, 16, 17 maybe 18 or 19 depending on, you know, good stuff. We were running on a good grade 20, but not consistently 20. If this can haul out at a consistent 20, it'll be definitely worth the pickup. And either way, we had to get another locomotive, so... And again, Mosca on the cheap end of locomotives. I mean, I think it's 3,600 or whatever, give or take options. Really not an expensive locomotive, which was kind of the idea where it was like debating about do we pick up just another Montezuma, and it's like, you know, get one that's looks close, a little bigger, a little more money, but not really like a heck of a lot, so working out just fine. Hopefully we actually have enough to pick this up. We are going to have to turn around and do some log runs soon have not gotten those in. That's the debate now, is like, to put Montezuma on the logs or keep Montezuma on the coal, or on the iron, excuse me, on the hoppers. I always call them coal hoppers, but they're really just hoppers. Use them for whatever you want. You should call them coal hoppers. Straight up hoppers. But Montezuma's working well on the hopper train, so it's like, you know, do you leave it there, or do you put it over on the wood? Probably put it over on the wood, just because we have the little cars over there, and Montezuma, I think, works probably the best with those, so we'll go ahead, chop the throttle as we run through here. Just as a precaution on the first go through. Yeah, handling things just fine. It's like 50%. It's pretty much going to do as much as we need to do. And we will check these switches, as we don't really need to be turning around right now. We're headed all the way out. This is going to be the longest run we have right now for a minute, until we take out our next track expansion project. So really, I want to consolidate the railroad this time, not looking to turn around, you know, not speed running to the end or anything, so just kind of playing it out. And in no real big hurry. It would be nice to get things down a little bit smoother in this area, so it's a little less work involved. I think, you know, with Mosca here, we can probably add more cars to this stack. You know, now that we have some money-making capability, we can add to the locos, add to the rolling stock. That's kind of the idea, so that's what's going to go on with the railroad right now. Not in a hurry to expand. In fact, as the railroad gets a little bigger, who knows, we might actually start decorating some things before we go too crazy with all track. Not too sure about that specifically, but leaving the options open. We throw that up. Do we get any more out of it? Not really. That's where it's maxing. I remember at one time, way back in the day, it seemed like this was like the fastest loco you could get your hands on. Definitely not the case anymore. But moving along just fine for what we need. Still leaves us with almost $4,000. So that's not bad. Tier 5 also not too bad. Starting to open up plenty of options for us as far as locomotives. Having that caboose back there definitely makes that easier to see. Not that for loading purposes, it's just nice to not have to count the cars, I guess. When you're doing it along, you go, hey, if the caboose is back there, it's reasonable to assume everything's still in between. No real lighting or light fixtures on Mosca. Just pretty smooth. It's my understanding there were like 2 of these, or Mosca and a sister locomotive that were pretty much the same. Sure. Someone will know for sure more than I. Alright, we'll flip that over so we can just turn around and go direct to load. That way, if we do have to go get logs, we're not sitting in the way. We still have a big enough stack to actually pick up a run here. Turn around, see, probably not quite enough lumber, but beams we have a bunch of. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, we have 30 something. Yeah, so we can still get quite a few cars going. So let's see what we can get going for sure here. We actually, I think, can get a whole load over without a problem. Right, move that down. That probably didn't get that swinging in time. Yeah, there we did. Alright, cool, cool. Good enough, right? I don't think we're far enough where we can start loading those up yet. So we'll just turn around and get these to finish up their thing. That 3x drop, you can't say enough. That was such a shocker when it came in that the auto cranes were going to drop 3 at a time, and it increased the loading speed just insane. Like, people who didn't play before cannot understand how much slower the loading process used to be. Alright, let's see. Can we get anything loaded here? Hopefully you drop forward enough. Yes, yes. Things are working. Nice to see. And somewhere hopefully in here we can actually get everything loaded. Let's see what happens. For the shot. Making things, ooh, we should turn that up. Actually make things a little easier. Are you going? Not going. Alright, we're out of here. That is a proper looking train, so that's cool. Moving its way out. Under power. Alright, what's our fastest way over there? I think we're probably fastest just to go back. Thing we're gonna need to change is that. Everything else, whoa, let's chill. Yo, see, this one definitely takes off faster under load, and there you go. Montezuma, we didn't have to worry about our speed coming out of here. You could just floor it, and between the bends, it kept it down to under 15 miles an hour, so you didn't really have to worry about a problem. This one, that is not going to be the case. which is a good sign because that means we can definitely add cars to this. We might be able to grab up 2 stacks or something and start running around trip. Like, we can do logs right along with this, maybe. We're going to run out the first run like this and then open up options from there, though. And we do have a water stack here, so that's cool. We have water stacks on both ends, and then in the middle. That's cool. Deal with that. Didn't even realize that's just kind of how it worked out so far. Start breaking some yard rules and get this puppy rolling. Yeah, looking good, definitely handling the weight. We're going to be able to accelerate with the load, no problem. That's what we're looking for. A little easier to get on schedule if you're running a consistent speed, if you know what I mean. Montezuma, we cannot complain, it was getting everything done, but we were asking, like, you know, about as much as that locomotive wants to do. This one has plenty in it and is probably a little more suited to a train stack this size or anything bigger. That's the thing. This is going to give us options to expand. Plenty of rail to go yet on this one. So I have to say, I have always been a big fan of the early game. I like doing the logs and the wood. It's a nice part of the game. It's all nice and simple at this point. We'll have to play with the speed here and see what we get. This part here is where, I mean, Montezuma was dipping down to under 15, so I can't say that I'm shocked that we're losing a little bit, but I think that's probably more with I just haven't found those settings yet, because there, as we slide that up a little bit, we're jumping into the 20. So we'll find the numbers where we have to run, you know, and I think this one's going to mainly sit at right at that 20 mark, which that's a winner. Either way, ease of use, it was worth the extra 1,000. You know, I mean, that's all we really have into this, more than we would have if we just duplicated Montezuma. So worth the extra 1,000 just for the ease of use. The brakes alone, probably. And with the full-size cars, it looks a little better, I think. Montezuma, once you start running full-size cars, starts showing her size, I guess. Montezuma with a full-size boxcar behind it's a little on the funny side. Betsy's like that too, you know, the smaller locomotives. Big rolling stock just kind of looks funny. If you ask me, definitely can do it, but it looks funny. We are rolling through. What's up, folks? We are not slowing down today. That's not a bad looking train back there. Now we can turn around and venture back, take a look at the caboose there. Roll it along nice and quiet, peaceful in the caboose. I'm sure that would have been an interesting ride back in the day. good look there at our smokestacks. We do have our smoke is stretching right out to the end of the train there. Light housing up top in this one. Would have been cool if we had the option to have caboose on any, like where it says caboose, have that option on any of the paint schemes. Would have been cool. Just on or off. I like that one. Looking good. We know our switches are good up here. There's another one. Just being able to remotely flip switches is such a nice add-on. And I have to say, I haven't had any issues with the game, or, you know, performance-wise either, so... horrible. Gap slapper. Bam! The whoop. That would be such a cool if one day you bam! You'd slam into him, especially in the wintertime, send the snow flying, that'd be cool. Very legit. Dump that down. And we head by the switch there, we just kind of take it in. This is really the main line more than a cut across. We just have the industry line out there, which does punch back into the distance. This rolling down the main is going to double it up. This could be a section that ends up getting doubled. Just depends on how much we continue to use it as we are running more locomotives. Now is going to be the test drive, really, to see how, you know, multiple locomotives start to function on the here. Do they time out? Do we have to get in sidings? That kind of thing. All depends on how the layout goes. If you ask me, if you have a layout that you're running multiple trains on, but you're just running into each other all the time, then you have problems that you have to solve. That is what we will start to find out. And we'll chop that. Should have probably already done that. We have arrived, as you can see, about half gone there. So nothing wrong with bringing over a few more drops. And move the money up in the right direction as well. Nice when we come into this one this way, quite honestly, it's easier to drop the other direction, you have to jump back and forth between the two docks. This way is just a little bit easier, straightforward. Are moving on to the beams here. Beams are what we're really out of, looks like. Or of course, that could now be after we've dropped lumber here as well. Or we just need more beams over here than we do lumber, so we might just do a whole train full of beams to kind of get that problem solved. Wouldn't hurt probably at this point. Alright, so we'll get those out of there. We'll turn around and take a look at the money. It puts us back up to just about $5,000. Nothing wrong there. Moving through tier 5 pretty decently. Caboose is there. I think we can turn around and successfully say Mosca is going to handle this stack and probably a little more when we feel like we can throw that at it, and the mine is moving back in the right direction. So I think we are going to call this one a win. Say thanks for tuning in. Remember, if you get a chance, like, share, subscribe. Subscriptions are free, but they sure do help the channel. Y'all have a great day.